Underneath, it's all wood, combustibles on here, all sorts of areas for fire to just get into these cubbies and just push. And so we would have to write this one off and just say there's just no way to do it.
Triaging a home requires making several key calculations about the structure, the fuels available to the fire, and your resources. You need to ask yourself, what is the fuel load like around the home? Is the structure built with materials likely to burn? Does mitigation make sense? Can it be protected from a surface fire? And equally important, do you have the staffing, equipment, and water to protect the structure? But the most important consideration is safety. Can your crews safely defend the structure? Are adequate safety zones and escape routes available and accessible? Never jeopardize your crew to rescue a home. Your attempt to save structures should be based upon if you can save them, not upon their financial value, political considerations, the pleading of residents, or any other external or emotional yardsticks. Make your decision and move on.
You're going to have houses that you can't save. You're going to have sometimes rows of houses that you can't save. And you need to make the decision to move on, and you need to rationalize in your mind why you're doing it, and you just have to do it.
Once a fire reaches the interface, the leader may find him or herself fighting two battles. The first is physical, the fire itself. The second is psychological. It's the mindset that says, we're going to stand and fight this fire at all costs in order to save our community. Before you enter a community, it's important that everyone realizes that structural fires in the interface differ from urban situations. A typical fire in an urban environment usually has multiple exposures with a fixed source. In the interface, however, exposure usually involves a flame front and multiple sources of ignitions. So as the fire enters the community, you'll have to make several crucial decisions. First, you'll have to determine if it makes sense to deflect the fire around the home. If small ignitions break out on the exterior of a structure, you have to decide if it makes sense to attempt to extinguish them. However, once the home becomes significantly involved, it's probably too late to save it. You'd be better off applying your resources to homes that stand a better chance of surviving. Never hesitate to walk away from a structure.
If you're spending all your time and resources trying to fight the unwinnable situation, everybody's going to suffer, your crew's going to be in danger, and you're going to lose a lot more than you're gaining.
Abandoning a structure can be the right thing to do, even though it may feel like admitting defeat.
That's a pretty emotional decision when you realize that you can't do anything more and you have to move on. That's not what we're trained to do. We're trained to stop the fire there. But once you realize you can't do that and you get past that, it makes your job a lot easier, a lot safer, and a lot more efficient for everybody else.
And never hesitate to walk away from an entire area with extreme fire conditions. In most cases, stopping an intense fire is wishful and dangerous thinking. Once a fire of this magnitude enters a residential area, there is little you can do.
We basically can't allow firefighters to stay at structures at that point. And we're pulling them into safety areas, let the fire front move by, and then immediately return to do more of a patrol status. Seeing if they can get back quick enough to pick up the little things that may ignite it on the structure that if not dealt with, will take the whole structure.
Sending your crew to a safe zone doesn't render them helpless. Usually the real work begins after a large fire has passed through. At that point, you can send your crews back in to protect homes by putting out spot fires. Common sense may tell us that little can be accomplished once an engulfing fire has swept through. But the reality is that few homes are destroyed by intense flames. The vast majority succumb to firebrands or spotting. If crews don't return to the interface, these lingering small ignitions may burn unattended for hours and ultimately destroy homes that could have been saved by something as small as a backpack pump.
Little Deer Lake. It's right there. So
It's critical that the crew leader continually reassess the fire because circumstances change without warning.
The lesson of how dynamic a fire can be is you have to be on top of it all the time. You have to know what that fire's doing. You have to know what the wind's doing, how fast the wind. Sometimes you get involved and you don't realize that the wind's picked up 5-10 miles an hour, and you have to stay on top of it all the time.
Staying on top of a fire may mean altering your strategies and tactics in mid-course and quickly communicating your orders to your crew.
Let them be in the corner. You guys support them on the south side. Walk the fire down.
The way you communicate your orders is just as important as the strategy you develop. It's critical to take